So something that has come up. I've had a couple conversations with some other pastors about like kind of where they land um, in the atonement conversation. And something that several people have pointed out to me was the fact that the Passover, and it's not just the Passover, but all the bulls and the goats and everything, like you've already pointed out, that it was a requirement for God that the animals had to be killed in a humane way. Like they weren't tortured before they were killed. And similarly, the Passover lamb, like the New Testament does say Jesus is our Passover lamb. And John the Baptist says, "Behold the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world." But the Passover lamb was not punished before it was the meal. In fact, the Israelites were instructed the lamb has to live with them, so they kind of get emotionally attached to it. Like they kind of love this little lamb. And but it's not tortured, and it's the lamb isn't being punished for them to be freed from Egypt. It's just it has to die in order for the blood to be applied to the doorposts. And so on X a couple weeks ago, I'm going through my devotions, happen to be going through the book of Leviticus this month. And on X, I posted a photo a couple weeks ago, and somebody responded trying to defend, I would say, an extreme version of penal substitutionary atonement. And he was talking about, like it's all about wrath. It's all about taking away the wrath of God. And you commented and you just asked him, where do you see wrath in the book of Leviticus? And he wasn't really able to give you a very good answer. And so I guess my question um, is anything in Leviticus about absorbing God's wrath away from the sinner?
No.
No.
No. So another surprising thing is if you read through Leviticus and you look for God's anger and you look for wrath, it's
Mhm.
just not there. Like to
Right.
the point where the word isn't used. So it turns up twice, or three
Mhm.
times actually. Um, so once when Moses gets angry, which we just talked about, Moses gets angry because they didn't eat the sin offering. Um, Again, when Moses warns that they shouldn't leave holy space, um, or they shouldn't bring something unholy into sacred space, otherwise God might get angry at the people. Um, and then another time right at the end of Leviticus where it's talking about like the covenant requirements, like if you do this, I'll bless you. If you do this, there will be anger and I will curse you.
Mhm.
But none of those one of those three times is Moses getting angry. The other two times where it's like God might get angry, it's not in the context of sacrifice. So
Right.
it really forces you to ask the question: if Leviticus is the book that explains what sacrifice is about, and Leviticus doesn't talk about like at all, literally at all, doesn't talk about sacrifice within the same context as anger ever, then maybe sacrifice isn't about turning away anger. Um,
Mm.
what, yeah, a lot to say. But primarily, sacrifice doesn't deal